Welcome back to Balance While Blooming. My name is Bridget. I'm 25 years old, and I'm here to tell you all the ways that you can balance your life, your wants and needs, and being able to do everything that you want to do, that you aspire to do, and bloom into your best self. And part of that is your relationships. So today we are talking all things marriage and relationship. For me, I have been in a relationship for almost 5 years, but married for 1 year. So I'm going to tell you guys a few of my tips for being married for 1 year. Now, I want to be honest with you. I'm not going to tell you need to get engaged, you need to have a big wedding, you need to do whatever works for you guys and your relationship is what you need to do. For us, we didn't have any traditionalness in our relationship basically at all. I knew I was ready to get married. I basically told my husband, I want to get married, and we looked at a ring, we picked it out together, and we're like, okay, now when do we want to get married? We were already together for more than 4 years, and we were basically wearing rings anyways, promise rings, and I knew at that point that I was like, okay, let's do this, go all in. We're already basically there. We live together. I have a stepson. Our finances were already combining. It was just ready for us. So we decided a few months later to get married. Now, for us, it was just very intimate. It was very intentional. We only had 3 guests. So it was us, my stepson, and both of our moms. And that was it. And my mom even officiated it. So it was simple. It was a beach by our house. And it was just, for us, the best way. So right now, when you guys are watching this, we are on a getaway for our 1 year anniversary. We are just going to an Airbnb a couple states over and just gonna have a good time there, just one-on-one time just for us. Now, I want you to know that your relationship and your timeline is yours, and there are people who never get married, and that's okay. And you can take this advice into long-term relationships. Now, let's get into my 5 main tips. These are gonna go for both long-term relationships and your first year of marriage, and kind of things that I've noticed that have changed or just really have come about over the year. The first one is change and adapting. You are no longer dating, you are married. Or if you are no longer in the honeymoon phase, you are no longer in that happy-go-lucky area of your life. It is time to make decisions together, focus together, and understand that things are going to change. For me, I had to change my name. All the things that I had to do, all the things that you had to do together are these things. We have health insurance together. There are things that we still working on even a year later, and that's another thing. Don't rush the change, adapt over time, and don't take it all in at once. First off, getting married is stressful. You have to get your marriage license. You need to make sure that you do everything on time for legal purposes. But then as life goes, let it change and adapt over time. And you're going to want to make your house now a home. It's now both of yours. Everything that was yours and yours are now ours. So it's not mine and yours, it's ours now. And more responsibility comes with marriage because you have now counts together, your name changes, legal changes, and understanding and learning this change and adapting to it together and letting each other understand that this is going to be stressful, it is going to be a change, but it's more than that. It's you coming together and becoming one. And when you become one, that change and adapt now needs to be together. So before you even get married, you need to know what is going to be the outcome when you get married. What are those changes? You're not going to know everything. Trust me. There were things that we thought we were doing this year that we didn't do. Don't get me wrong, but changing and adapting and understanding that fights are going to happen. The communication isn't always going to be there. It's the same as dating. It's not like flip of a switch, but you both now fit in roles of husband and wife and having to give each other that time of not only being married, but being individuals and understanding and learning along the way that now you have a marriage, you have your relationship, then you have you as individuals. Those are very different steps. Understand that changing and adapt of one more step of being married is going to be there. Next one, talking about that, is communication and fights. Now, you are always going to have to communicate. It doesn't matter if you're in a long-term relationship, if you just got together, or if you're being married. But everything is going to be heightened when you're in the stress of either just getting married or being married for that first year and all those changes and adapts. So of course, you are going to want to marry your best friend. You are going to want to be that person that you can talk to about anything, go through anything, and do everything together. Yes, but you are still two individuals. Not every individual is going to agree. Not everyone is going to be on the same page, and not everyone is going to understand what you want out of life. So you need to have those larger conversations. You need to know what is going to happen. And fighting is actually really good. Not fist fighting, not a strong disagreement, but having those arguments to say your opinion and stand up for yourself is something that I always recommend, that you get it out in the open instead of bottling it up. My husband and I, we communicate really well. We actually over communicate. If some people are like, you guys over communicate about everything, that is how our relationship works. But our fights are very minimal, and when we do fight, it's about the things that we bottle up because we don't communicate about a few topics, and that's when we boil over. So really discuss what are those topics that you are going to kind of avoid talking about and know that you're going to fight about. We know that there are certain topics that we just argue and fight about, and we know how to get to the solution, but we need to let it out every 1 to 3 months. We have a big argument, but the communication out of your arguments and the communication and the build and the relationship growth after the fact is what you need to focus on. My third tip is date nights, getaways, and intimacy. Life is going to get busy. You are going to be working. You're going to have children over time. You could already be having children in your relationship, but you need to make time for one another. It doesn't matter if you're married or just in a relationship or you've been married for 10 years. You need to take that time for one another. What we do is that we try to do a date night, either weekly or bi-weekly, usually going out to dinner where we can talk without anyone around, get out of the house, and sometimes we go to the beach, or sometimes we just sit in our car and talk, but we try to do that weekly or bi-weekly. We try to do it more than once a week, but it does not need to be something expensive. It does not have to be anything fancy, but you definitely need to make that time throughout the week and balance in your relationship, because if not, your relationship is going to feel very roommatey, and you're not going to feel that intimacy and that love with your husband or your boyfriend of a long-term relationship because of that problem. Now for getaways, what we do is one long vacation. That is only us. It has to be more than 3 nights. This year it's 4 nights, and it has to be just the two of us, and then there has to be weekend getaways 1 to 3 more throughout. So once a quarter we try to go away ourselves. Does that always happen? No. Last year I think we did 1 big trip and 2 small trips, and that was great. And those small getaways can be right around the corner. They can be a road trip. They can be whatever they are. For us, our long vacation, usually every other year, is a longer on a flight go and do something. Next year, I don't know. We've talked about going back to Vegas. That's usually our big trip. We love going to Vegas. That's our spot. But it's just the two of us. And then our small getaways are usually a night or 2 at a hotel nearby. And then stay in love. Remember that people change, and their love languages can change, their intimacy can change, and you need to show them love every single day. And one thing I like to say is, when you talk about that communication and fighting, never go to bed angry. Make sure that you at least say I love you, because you don't know. Life is so unpredictable, and you don't get time back. So at the end of the day, even if you're a little bit annoyed, still say you love your husband or you love your boyfriend, whoever it is, and understand that for us in our marriage, that is one thing. Every night we say I love you, no matter what. We could still be annoyed, but we move on. We understand, we talk it out, and then we don't really go to bed angry. So always stay in love. Make sure you're making time for your significant other, and that you are showing them the love that they need, not the love that you want, and that you're communicating the type of love you want, the intimacy that you want. And as you're growing as a person, the ways that you are shifting and what you like and dislike in love and relationships could change too. Number 4 is support and hold each other accountable to your goals and dreams. My big thing is that you should have dreams together. Everything that you are is now a team. You are now a team. You are holding each other accountable. How can I help you on your goals? How can I help you on your dreams? What do you want out of life? These conversations should be coming up over and over again. My husband asks me every single week what he can do for Balance While Blooming. Is there a lot he can do? No. But his support, or making sure that we have a quick dinner so I can come and record, communicating and supporting each other and holding each other accountable to never give up, to make sure that you know what you want in life and that you both are on the same page for what you want. And if you're not growing together, really talk about that. And maybe that's something that you go and talk to someone outside of your relationship about. How can I get my significant other to help me, or how do I hold him accountable? I feel like I'm letting him down. How do I push him towards his goals? Now, you don't want to force someone to grow or bloom, but if it is someone that you have fallen in love with and it's someone that you want to grow your life with, really have these conversations. And now, once again, it's all about communication, holding each other accountable and figuring out how you can help them and support them along their way. And some of these goals and dreams are individual, but I do recommend having relationship goals, relationship dreams, big things. As much as you make a vision board for yourself, make one for your family, make one for your relationship, and one for every area of your life, including your marriage. What do you want in life? For us, we want to be able to have real estate. Are we there yet? No, but we're working on it. We want to have passion projects. We don't want to be working forever. We want to make sure that we're able to retire in time. We want to travel. All of those things are our mutual things. Now, of course, I have Balance While Blooming. He has all his hobbies and his goals that he has, but that doesn't mean that we don't have any together. So if you don't have any goals together, I'd really recommend it, because not only does it propel you and motivate you to do your own individual goals, it lets you really communicate and push each other and have something to look forward to together that you're both working towards. And that's amazing when it comes to marriage and relationships in general. Now, the last one is balance. Now, this is, of course, what my whole business is around, balancing your life. But honestly, you cannot go into a marriage, a relationship, into even a friendship and expect 50-50 always. Now, I am someone who is very busy. I love working. I love being on the moon. But then when I'm crashing and burning, my husband has to give that other percentage. Now, you guys will always be 100 together. And when he's down for the count, I pick up his percentage. So it will never be 50-50. Normally, it's 80-20 or 60-40. There are days that it's 50-50, and those are the best days of your relationship. Don't get me wrong. When you both are giving equally, it's humanly impossible to do that every single day. Now, understanding that this 100% is your relationship. If you are not giving 100% and picking it up, your relationship is going to start crumbling, because you are losing that connection to hold that balance. You are not picking them up when they need you. You are not picking up the slack when they need you. And that will ruin your relationship and your marriage if you cannot balance it out and understand that they are not going to be perfect and not give their 50% every single time. And when you're giving your 50%, you expect them to pick up the pieces. Heck no. Find that balance. Find that way to communicate. Hey, I can't give it all today, right? But I need you to do these things for me so that tomorrow I can feel better. We have those conversations almost weekly, if not daily, when both of us are just not in it. And I have a very stressful job. He has a very stressful job. Luckily, they don't really overlap that much, and we're really good at balancing the time when we give each other that energy. But figuring out to balance and give yourself the 100% into your relationship is not going to be 50-50. There are days that you need to put in 80, and there's days that you're only going to give 30 and they'll have to pick up the 70, right? So figuring out that balance and figuring out every single day, what is my relationship? What do I need to do to make my relationship whole today to help my partner? That is so important. And those are my main tips. Communication falls into every single one of those categories. Keep loving on them. Long-term relationships are the same as being married, but honestly, once you're married, don't lose the spark. Don't lose the spark at all. This is mostly relationship advice, but understanding that when you're in a long-term relationship, a few of these things do slack from time to time. You can't expect people to be perfect. You can't expect them to give it at all. But understand that you are going to give what you need to give in this moment, and that you are in the right place, that this is your person. Make sure that you, with someone who is uplifting you, try go to counseling. Try to do what you need to do to make your relationship whole before you give up on it, because relationships and love is the best thing ever. I love my relationship. I love the person I'm with. I got so lucky, but we have a lot of issues. Don't get me wrong. We are not happy-go-lucky. We are not perfect. But that's where you have to find the balance, and you need to bloom together, and that's where you need to talk about your wants. You need to talk about your needs, talk about those things that you need in life, and understand that your relationship is unique. Don't judge how you are with someone else, or who someone else may be with, or the way that they handle relationships. Guys, we handle relationships so untraditionally. If I ever do a story time of our entire relationship, you will be like, how the hell are you guys together? But honestly, we are together because of our communication and the way we talk to each other. But for some people, it makes them very uncomfortable. So figure out how to balance your life and bloom your relationship. And I'm just sharing being 1 year married and in a relationship for 5 years. This is my relationship advice. And some of these are for marriage, and some of them are just relationship in general. And either way, bloom together. Become the people that you want to be, and become your best selves, not only for yourself, but for your significant other, and make that bond even stronger, and help each other and support each other and create goals and dreams together. And I hope that you continue balancing this area of your life. Relationships are so important. Not only your romantic relationships, but your platonic relationships. Every type of relationship is part of this, but your romantic relationships are what comes in and where your heart really needs it. And if you're like me, my relationship and my marriage is number one. I always make time for it. I always make sure it's there, and I make sure that we are blooming and balancing together. And I hope that you can do that in your relationship. Thank you for everyone being here, and I hope that not only in this area of your life, but every area of your life, you start balancing your life and blooming into your best self. Bye, guys.